I can't bear it any longer. How to fix anxiety. Get fewer. How to fix anxiety. How to fix anxiety. Like it's the craziest thing. I prepare for this message on how to fix anxiety. What do we got going on with anxiety? And as I'm getting ready to push the button to start the show, I get anxiety. I'm like, oh man, what? How can I teach on anxiety when, like, I have so much of it? Well, and I started to think, like, well, maybe I'm the perfect person to teach on anxiety. None of us escapes anxiety. We don't just not have anxiety. This whole week, for me, I don't know, it's been more than a week. It's been a 3-week gauntlet of a version of anxiety, but I haven't really felt anxiety until today, after the weekend, after the blitz, after the new opening, after the big weekend, after the big concert, after all the pomp and circumstances, and then finally the big reveal of a new restaurant, and flying my daughter across the country, and have another daughter, another part of the country, and another daughter at my home, and working a job, and another daughter raising 3 kids, and I mean, like, and all the employees. Like, and this show isn't about me, but I guess I want you to understand that I guess it is about me, because I am the face or the mouthpiece in many regards of God, and it's daunting. Not the only mouthpiece or face of God, but I've elected to do this show Monday through Thursday for my own personal growth, to build you personally, spiritually, and profitably. And I guess it has to be about me a little bit. I have to be able to reflect what I've learned, what I've shared, and what I've learned from others. But the anxiety of this show actually tripled as I hit the button. And I just wanted to share that with you. I want you to know that you're not alone in this world of anxiety. You're not alone in this world. I mean, I think that our life is full of worry. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say. I don't, I mean, I care, but I don't quite believe that there are very many people that really walk around and don't have worry or some concerns or some anxiety. So I think I'm going to be brave enough to tell you that anxiety is proficient in my life. Now, I do deal with it in maybe a different way. And, that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want you to understand that, your lifestyle, we talked about all last week, let's not make money, let's make a lifestyle. And part of making a lifestyle is understanding that we, as wired differently people, are different people. And that we are wired, we are hard-coded now, we are embodied with different resources to deal with this world. And there's only 2 choices in this world. There's the light or there's the darkness. There's the light or there's the darkness. And it's not that you have to choose to only have one or the other. It's just that you have to choose to acknowledge that there is light and darkness, and that you have to acknowledge and choose that to diffuse anxiety, to have heaven on earth, as in Matthew 6:9 shares with us, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's us praying to God that his that heaven can be experienced here on earth. That's 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 God, that's us praying to him that God's going to do that for us. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so if we want to experience heaven on earth, we have to acknowledge that there is light and darkness. And darkness is what brings the anxiety to us. So at the end of the show, I'm gonna give you how to fix anxiety. I mean, I'm not your complete fixer, but I do want to give you hope, because that's really what this is all about. Hope is what God gives us. Hope is how we deal with the darkness. I mean, think about this. Let me just kind of give you some real world, some practical things right now. I mean, listen, I'm not ashamed to brag or to tell you or to pontificate about the fact that I'm 59 years old in about 2 days. I don't know. What's the date today? May 28, 29, 30, 31. So in 3 days, I'm going to be 59 years old. Now, why is that relevant? Well, I'm going to tell you why it's relevant, because I want you to understand that the anxiety that I've felt throughout my whole life, and I'm not saying anything like I'm special. I'm just saying that I know you have anxiety. And you're going to have a big homework assignment after this 15-minute course here. I want you to think back when you were younger. And I'm going to use my own stories because I'm good at my own stories, because I know them and they're true. I remember pole vaulting. I remember the anxiety, man. Oh, the worry in high school. Would I beat the record? Me and a good friend by the name of Rick Scheit, we played football together. We did high school together. We did some stuff together. And we would compete back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he pushed me, and I pushed him, and I pushed him. But I was always striving, like the anxiety of, would I end up with a record, or would he end up with a record? Would I win the meet? Would we win the meet? But the anxiety was just like, I don't know. There was times I just wanted to puke. That was a million years ago, and I thought that was the end of the world if that didn't happen. I remember wrestling in high school. Oh, man. You get those tights on and you go out there and you wrestle. But the warm up, and before you went on the mat and you had to grapple or fight someone one-on-one in front of a crowd, half naked in your underwear. I mean, the anxiety of that was like almost overwhelming. The butterflies in my stomach, and I'd be jumping ropes and getting ready. And man, the fear or the idea of someone pinning you or being more man than you and hurting you or embarrassing you or sticking you or pinning, the idea of losing the humility of that in some regards. But you learn to look at things different. But that the anxiety of that was just overwhelming the night before, and especially going out on the mat. The anxiety of football. I remember wanting to perform so well for my father and be, something that he was worthy of. He was such an amazing football coach, and I had got the privilege to play under him, and so many other men did in this world. And I remember the butterflies before games, and this idea: would I catch the ball? Would I score the touchdown? Would I block correctly? All the things that went on to be a standout athlete in the regards of my father's lore. I remember being so worked up over one game that my father sent out a bottle of Pepto-Bismol to me in the middle of in the game. It was in DeKalb. We were playing DeKalb, and the guy ran the play in, and he brought me some Pepto-Bismol, and I chugged it in the huddle. And why am I telling all these stories? I remember the horror or the anxiety of my parents fighting. I remember the anxiety of my parents discussing money. I remember the anxiety of my parents divorcing. I remember the anxiety of not having money myself. I remember the anxiety of could I be a good father when my wife was pregnant for our first child, the second child, the third child. What have I got myself into, Lord? What have I done here? Why have I started another company? Why are we doing these things? Good Lord, how can I ever get through anything like this? There's hope. And so I brought up a few of those for you because I just want you to know that I know you have them also. And I know you have friends and people out there that have them also. I've been blessed with some amazing friends. Most recently, I've rekindled a relationship with a man by the name of Ron Eckel. And he texted me this morning at 4:30. He says, about time you got up. Have a great day. You're awesome, or something like that. So I want you to understand how important it is to encourage other people. Because as I'm giving you these examples of anxiety, I'm still sitting here as a reasonably wealthy man, reasonably healthy man, reasonably happy man. And there's so many things that I thought from the time I remember sitting in my bedroom playing The Long Way Home by the Eagles, I think, on a record player. And I was probably in 7th or 8th grade and thinking, oh my gosh, 6 more years of schooling. There's no way I can do this. I was not shaking, but I was just anxiety. Like, this is so long. I don't like school. I don't like the way people treat me, or I mean, I don't fit in. My dad would always say, this too shall pass. And so the only reason I'm asking you to look back at some of the horrors of growing up or some of the anxiety of growing up, I want you to just kind of realize you're here, you're listening. I want you to realize that you got through that. Solomon was probably it was clearly the richest man to ever walk the planet. He's like 3 times, 4 times, who knows, 10 times richer than the Elon ever will be. God said King Solomon is the richest man that will ever walk the planet. And he wrote a lot of things, and he wrote a lot of the chapters in Proverbs. And he wrote this Proverbs chapter for us. Worrying weighs a person down, but an encouraging word lifts and cheers them up. Worrying weighs a person down, but encouraging words lifts and cheers them up. Now, Solomon wrote that word because he, as the richest man the world had ever known, was depressed. He wasn't happy. You know, you think about it, this man had gaggles of chariots and roads lined with cedar, and he had gold and everything. I mean, he's just an amazing rich man, but here he is a depressed man. And he took the time in Proverbs 12:25 to say, worrying weighs a person down, but encouraging word lifts and cheers them up. And so what I want you to do today is I want you to understand we're going to be talking about these things. I want to talk to you about how to fix anxiety in your life. Solomon had it. I guarantee you the Elon has it. I guarantee you the Jobs has it. I guarantee you the Bill Gates has it. Even the dastardly Mar out there, I guarantee you he gets a little depressed once in a while. But God has given us hope. And I wanted to just testify and show you that the hope works. Because if you had the anxiety like I had at a younger age, I want you to go back there, and then I want to come forward and I would say, look at how many of the cool things have you had between that anxiety to this anxiety day today. It works. God gives us hope. It's here. I want you to conquer anxiety. I want you to fix anxiety by getting fewer. And I'm going to take you through the acronym FEWRR, FEWRR. And I want you to understand this is why I want you to cope and how you can cope with anxiety. Now, I just went on 15 minutes because I want you to understand you're not alone in this world. You're not alone in anxiety. Anxiety is not something that you can just throw a drug at and it goes away. I don't want that for you. I want you to know that it's a normal flow of life, Todd. And before we go to the drugs, the alcohol, the things that appease us, right? That placate us. I want you to go to fewer. I want you to get fewer. I want you to understand that God has given us a formula for this. Solomon. Listen, you'll never, ever see the riches that Solomon ever, like one day of Solomon's riches back in those days is probably a lifetime of earnings for even the richest men now on earth. And this man was depressed. He had anxiety. I thought the world was over. I could never make it from the long run home, the Eagles, that album. I thought I could never get a date. I thought I would never be loved. I thought no one would ever like me. I thought I would never get taller than, I was just such a small man. And, all these things weighed on me. And I wanted to tell you that we are all overcomers. We are wired differently, right? Because we get up differently, we go to bed differently, we fight differently. We have God in us. That's why we're wired different. So tomorrow we're going to really dive into FEWRR, FEWRR. But I'm going to share with you at the close of this morning is that not only King Solomon had anxiety, but you have had anxiety. You have worried, right? You have been in this place, in this thing of depression. You know that noun is something that you've experienced. And I want you to know that you have come out of it before and you can come out of it again. There's a lot going in this world, and we kind of focus on the politics. We kind of focus on the wars. We kind of focus on the poverty. We kind of focus on the impoverished. We kind of focus on the hate. We kind of focus on racism. We've kind of focused on LGBTQ and plus and all those. We focus on all these things. All these things are ginned up by this world because it is the darkness trying to consume the light. I want light for you. I want you to understand that God came here. He gave us Christ for hope. And the only thing between us and kingdom community is sin. And sin is generally driven by anxiety. Worrying weighs a person down, but encouraging words lifts and cheers them up. So I'm going to close today with this encouraging word for you. I want you to think about something that has happened and you've been anxiety ridden by in the past and realize that too has passed. And whatever you're sitting in right now that's causing some version of anxiety for you will pass. Because we have hope in God, and He is there for us in this regard. Matthew speaks of it. Philippians thinks of it. In John, we think he speaks of it. King Solomon, the richest man ever walked the planet, speaks of it. And so I want to take you through the 5 things that we can do to fight off anxiety. And the number one thing I want to share with you this morning, because I'm going to take you through these 5 tomorrow, get fewer, is we need to fight off anxiety with hope. So this morning, I want to give you hope. I want to give you hope that if you have cancer, I want to give you hope that if you have depression, I want to give you hope if you feel like you're not loved. I want to give you hope if you feel like nobody cares about you. I want to give you hope if you feel lonely. I want to give you hope if you're worried about finances. I want to give you hope if you're worried about your children. I want to give you hope if you just don't feel good enough. That's why God sent Christ. People will always let you down, but God won't. So the thing I want you to think about today as we close is I want you to think about not only that you may be in some anxiety stricken position, but the number one way out is to encourage somebody else. I don't know where Ron Eccles is right now, but I know he found the time to encourage me this morning. Maybe he has anxiety. Maybe he understands God's formula. Maybe he knows that it's his job to build kingdom-minded people, and God laid me on his heart. Get fewer. We're going to fight anxiety with hope. We're going to ward off worry with truth. We're going to resist fear by life-giving words. We're going to refuse to settle for living scared, and we are going to expose darkness to the light. We're going to expose darkness to the light. That's what we're going to do. You guys are going to have a terrific day today. You're going to look back on these things that you have conquered. And right now, I want you to put in your mind, who is that in your life right now? Who is that you can encourage? Who is that you can actually give life-giving words to today to help not only move them through their anxiety, but start to move you through your anxiety? I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow about this stuff. So let's get it on. Let's have a great time. Let's understand that encouraging others is the way out of our own anxiety. We must share it. One of the most encouraging things I saw at the Donut Capital of the World Festival, the block party, we had Rock House, and we had some 3,000 people there. It was a spectacular event, but I saw as many as 5 people walking around with Wired Differently shirts. It was just like the greatest thing ever for me, because the gospel is working, the hope is working, right? The anxiety is being removed, and God is delivering in my life, delivering into other people's lives. And so I want to just share this mindset, mission, movement, ministry, and now I want you this mentorship situation that we put Wired Differently in, and I am literally driving people through and myself through. I want you to get to wireddifferently.com. I want you to get to wireddifferently.com. I want you to go in there, and I want you to pick out 1 or 2 shirts, and I want you to buy them, and I want you to wear them. Just wear it once a week. That's a small thing you can do for God, to profess your faith in God and this idea. I tell you, when I put on this jersey, my anxiety seems to go away. I have a calling, right? I have a calling to wear the jersey of God, right? I have that calling to represent him, right? Once you get to wiredifferently.com, and when you order 1 or 2 shirts, you're going to be supporting this mindset, mission, movement, ministry, and mentorship program. I want to be your coach. I want to be your mentor. I want to be consistent for you. Help support this mindset, mission, movement, ministry, and mentorship. Go to wireddifferently.com and type in the promo code WIRED15 and get an additional 15% off on any shirts that you order. They'll get there in less than 7 days. They're phenomenal shirts. You're going to love them. God bless you guys. I can't wait for tomorrow's show. I'm already writing it in my head.